I'm Danny, and this is the Scream Princess podcast. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Scream Princess podcast. And I'm here today, and this is a funny one. I'm here with a fellow podcaster. So I feel a little bit like I'm way out of my depth because he has been doing this for a lot longer than me. He knows exactly what he's doing, and it is Mr. Paul P D Donaldson. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm all right, Danny. Thank you. I wouldn't say I'm better than you.
I would.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a while, I suppose, and
How
I've
many years have you been doing this for?
since 2018.
See, that's a lot more years than me. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 4. That's like 7 years more than me. I
So,
was here with my fingers, counting on my fingers under the table.
and I've interviewed some decent people, and the most recent being Jonathan Ross.
Yes, I know. I'm excited to hear all about this during the podcast. That's a great guest. Yeah, like really. So I actually love watching. Was it the Masked Singer? He used to be on there, didn't he? And you'd have to do the guessing sometimes. And
Yeah, we
like I
talk about the Masked Singer on the podcast.
I love The Masked Singer. It's one of those TV shows that is a bit crap. You shouldn't really like it, but I am addicted. So even The Masked Dancer, which is even more obscure because The Masked Dancer, like The Masked Singer, at least you can maybe guess their voice. The Masked Dancer, you're like, it could be anybody, couldn't it? Like you don't
Yeah,
know, you don't know who can dance and who can't. So that one's even more obscure. But again, I get addicted and I'm there on a chat group with my friends on WhatsApp and we're messaging each other like who we're guessing, who we think it is. But
well, I
your
love my music.
podcast, oh, you like the music? Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, we'd like a music, and we watch the Masked Singer as well. I'm good at picking out voices.
Yeah. I've
So
guessed a
I
few.
usually,
I guessed the last one was Marty Pello, and I guessed it was him, and I guessed Natalie Imbruglia when she was on it. But there are
I
some
didn't
that
guess Marty Pello, but I've guessed quite a few
I guessed him
along the
quite
way.
early. I think there was some link with like Scottish, and I was like, who's Scottish and can sing? So yeah, I guessed him quite early on. So
Very
obviously your
good.
background tells us what your podcast is. So it's a Carlisle cult cinema podcast. And
It is.
it's obviously based in Carlisle, which is just like the other end of you're sort of West Coast, and I'm East Coast. I think we're just kind of the other side of the
We
country
are.
from each other. But it's like it's the thin bit of the country, isn't it? So it's like where you've got Scotland and you've got like the thin neck
Yeah.
of the country, and then it kind of goes out. Goes. So if anybody out there is not from England or the UK and you don't know like the England map, it's like the north about we're both about as far north as you can get before you start hitting Scotland, really.
Yeah. True. We're 10 miles from Scotland.
Yeah. I'm a bit further.
Um,
I actually used to think Carlisle was in. It sounds like a Scottish name. Like, when you're a kid and my dad would be watching the football results and it'd come up with these names of clubs that I haven't necessarily heard of. And I'm always sure like Carlisle sounded like it was in the Scottish League, but it probably wasn't. It was probably like the next results would have been the Scottish League and I just confused the two. But it kind of sounds Scottish to me.
yeah. No,
Also
Carlisle
Perth,
have just.
not Perth.
No,
Penrith.
it's
I
not near
thought Penrith was in
Penrith.
Scotland and it's in Cumbria.
Yeah. Yeah. We're the capital of Cumbria.
You're the capital. Where actually are you? Oh, Carlisle.
Yeah.
Start again, Danny.
I'm literally a 2-minute walk to Carlisle Castle.
Ah, I do love a
We've,
castle.
oh, well, we've got a big castle um, right in the middle of the city, and not far from that, we've got the museum, which tells all, and then we've got the cathedral as well, which is a beautiful
Lovely.
cathedral.
I've never been to Carlisle. One day I should go. I like traveling around and seeing different places. And obviously when I moved from oh, sorry.
All right.
Unknown callers ringing my phone mid-podcast and they shouldn't be. I've got my phone actually set so that numbers that I don't know shouldn't be able to phone me, but yet somehow they still do.
It's always the way.
It's always like, did you like
The,
my
the,
ringtone? It matched my t-shirt, Jurassic Park.
I didn't hear your ringtone. It
Didn't
didn't.
you hear it? It was the Jurassic
No.
Park theme tune.
Ah.
That's exactly it. I've got the Jurassic Park theme tune as my ringtone, and then my alarm tone is Indiana Jones. because it makes me feel like I want to get up in the morning and have an adventure like Indiana Jones does. So it's like da da da
My
da. Mhm.
ringtone is oh, what was that detective show set on New Jersey? Not New Jersey.
I am never
Um,
going to guess this one. The only one I could
oh, it
think,
was an old school one. I know it because I've watched every episode.
Murder She Wrote. That's the only
No,
old
it was a British
Columbo,
British one.
British one.
And I can't even think because it's on the tip of my tongue.
Well, I like
And
Midsummer Murders. It's not that one, is it?
it starred not John Nettles. Um,
D. Ellen Pascoe.
oh, no, it was
Um,
set on an island just off England. Is it Jersey? No, it's not Jersey.
I probably don't know it. I'm a
Yeah,
big fan
no,
of
I
Murder She
can't
Wrote, though.
think.
I love a detective show, and I love reading like kind of detective-y books, like crime thrillers.
I watched the whole show when it was on. Um, oh, what show was it on? It was on. Remember BritBox? I'm
Oh,
just
I don't
looking
know.
to
It's one
see
of
what it
those, like,
is.
as soon as we get off the podcast, you'll be like, oh, I've remembered it now.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And it is doing my nut cleaning at the moment. Um, so I'm just oh wait a minute, Bergerac.
Bergerac. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can picture him now. I
Yeah,
didn't watch that one. I remember my mum watching that one when I was a kid, but I didn't actually watch that one.
a few years ago I went through the whole series of Bergerac
Right.
and
I think
watched
that
a lot.
BritBox is quite good, isn't it, for like old school shows?
Yeah, well, it was, but now it's closed and gone,
Oh,
so we're kind of screwed that way. I think you can get it on iPlayer,
right. Okay. I
the
love a
bin
binge
BBC
watch
show.
me, so I quite like finding a show that I haven't seen, and then there's like loads of series of it, so I can watch them all. I've just
If
finished Dynasty, but not the old Dynasty. It's like the reboot of Dynasty. I've never
all
seen the
right,
old
right.
one, but I started watching it last month, and I got hooked. And I was literally spending every waking moment watching Dynasty. And I actually usually go to bed very, very early. And my boyfriend's on holiday at the moment. So he's like 5 hours behind, and I'd be up like past midnight, and he's like, "How are you still awake?" Like he's obviously awake because he's 5 hours behind, but it's like, "How are you still awake?" And I'm like texting, I'm like, "I'm watching Dynasty. I just can't stop. Like I need to know what happens. I can't like stop mid-episode, and then I want to watch the next one." So
Yeah,
yeah, having some late nights.
yeah, that's me with Ray Donovan at the moment, which is on Paramount Plus.
Which I'm actually really tired today, but I don't know if it's because I have been literally staying up so late or whether it's because my eyelashes are really heavy. I've stuck on lashes for this, and I'm like, they're very heavy. They're weighing my eyelids down. I'm not sure.
Oh bloody
I'm
hell!
not
Well,
sure.
I'm gonna let. I'm not. I feel like I kind of taken over there, so I'm gonna let you
No,
go and
that's
do
fine.
your
Like I
thing.
said, you're the experienced one here. You know how to do this more than I do. I feel like actually I messaged you, I think, when I was it when I was starting, I was thinking of starting the podcast. I'm sure I sent you a message and I was like, what do you do for like cameras and stuff? And I was trying to work out how to connect my phone. I don't know if I messaged you, but I've actually worked out, and I feel like a technical genius now, how to connect my phone to my laptop and use my phone camera because it's a much better camera. But that is
Yeah,
why if my phone rings, then obviously it
I
causes
can't
a
remember if I got a
problem.
message from you. I use for me I use a piece of kit that connects to a good microphone
Yeah,
and Bluetooth connects to my iPad, and I've got to wear these weird
yeah,
little headphones so I can
yeah.
hear you.
I'm using just my phone sound, but my phone's pretty good for sound, so
Yeah.
it's actually
Oh, I mean,
okay.
if you've got an iPhone, they're brilliant for everything.
Yeah, this is it. So how did you decide to start? What made you decide to start your podcast, the Carlisle Cult Cinema podcast?
Well, the first iteration, as I said, started in 2018. It was the year after we'd started the Carlisle Cult Cinema Club screenings.
Mm,
So that started first where we'd started screening films, which was 2017, April of 2017. And we first screened The Evil Dead, the original. And then I decided I'd get a few mates together who were into film to start a podcast.
hmm
So the first iteration ran for I think 3 or 4 episodes, and then I landed in hospital early 2019 with the transverse myelitis. So it was kind of put on hold until
mm,
I was well, and then obviously just after that we hit COVID and lockdown.
Hmm.
So nothing was getting done. We've done a few, went live a few times on Facebook for a bit of silliness. And then 2021, I decided, right, let's start up again.
Yeah.
And I got together my mate Andrew Waugh, another lad who sadly passed away, Davin Johnson, and that was us, the three of us, the three amigos, and it was just us discussing film. And then early on, we were doing sequels we watched more than the original, and one of mine's Return of the Swamp Thing. Well, I know
Okay.
Jim Wynorski, the director,
Uh-huh.
so I messaged Jim, any stories on Return of the Swamp Thing? I'm discussing it for my podcast. Well, I'll do better. We can do better than that. I'll come on your podcast.
Oh, amazing.
Now, I didn't have Zoom or anything, so it was done with audio, and it was basically
Mm.
my mobile phone held to a microphone because we didn't couldn't hook it up or anything like that then.
Yeah.
Um, so and Jim was my first interview, and he was absolutely amazing.
That's
I couldn't
amazing to
believe it.
start with somebody that's that high profile to be like your first guest on the show.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and all we done was we discussed Return of the Swamp Thing for I think half an hour,
I
and
mean,
he thoroughly enjoyed his time.
he did so much. Like you could probably have a whole series on just him. Like he'd have so much to talk about.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get him back on because I did get him back on, but if you remember, like yourself, I had an accident and didn't record,
Oh,
and I'd done the same with Jim, and I felt like an absolute asshole. So, yeah, but we are gonna. I've sent him a few bits and bobs over the years, and
right.
I am gonna get him back on. But it kind of
Yeah.
spurred us on to get other people now and again.
Yeah. So do you just kind of record them and put them out as and when, or do you have like a strict like every week at this time or every 2 weeks, or how
It
do you
was
schedule?
up until the beginning of the year. I like to get one out every week, whether it was
Mm,
me and the lads or me doing an interview. Now, from October we did kind of manage to do that, to be honest.
mm,
And there was a few weeks if I was having a bad week that we had to miss. But we managed to, we kind of managed to get one out a week or at least one out a fortnight.
yeah.
Um, as I say, unless I was poorly. And then October of this year, well, August of this year, I broke my ankle. Last year, sorry, I broke
Last
my
year.
ankle. So I ended up in hospital when we had a load of podcasts planned. So I
Mm,
ended up in hospital. They wouldn't let me out until I could transfer onto a commode. And obviously, because of my transverse myelitis, I can't hop,
mm.
which sounds silly, but I can hardly walk, let
Let
alone
alone
hop.
hop. Yeah.
So they had me in hospital for, God, it was over a month
Mm,
until I could pivot transfer onto a commode um, till they'd let us home. So that kind of put pace to everything. So when I got home in the October, I went, right, I'm interviewing. So I managed to get just about an interview a week from October till December. I interviewed you twice, once with the girls,
yeah.
and once on your own. There was Alan Bryce in there. There was other people, and
Oh yeah, because you played our song. Did you play our song on your radio show?
I did. And I
Yeah.
played your song on my radio show at
Yeah.
Christmas as well,
I literally
twice.
have just come off a podcast to Megan. So I had Megan and Cheryl as my first guest on my very first show back in
Yeah.
January. And Megan's just like I just recorded her just before you actually today. So that's why I said that's why I was like, oh, if you're ready a bit early, because I'd finished hers and I thought, oh, I'll see if he's ready because I'm kind of ready. But I actually ended up editing hers in between. So I used my in between time wisely.
I must admit, I don't do much editing unless someone asks
I don't
for
do much
something to be
editing. I mean, I
taken out.
chop the beginnings and the ends off so that no one's
Yeah,
like dying on a funny face,
that's it.
and then I put like a little bit in the middle. So I obviously I record in two halves, so I have like a little interval bit, and that's it. That's really the edit. But I actually create for each one. I create a kind of what do you call them? Like a Like when it goes on to YouTube, whether you have the like the thumbnail image, and I do like a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
collage. I do a collage thumbnail image, so that's actually probably what takes more time is like getting that right because I'm really picky. Like I can't have like something that overlaps and you can see something that doesn't quite look right. It's got to like
yeah.
overlap properly. And I don't know. I'm probably more picky about that. I always tell people I'm
I'm
not going to edit anything, so don't say anything if you don't want it to go out on air because it's hard to edit like your voice.
exactly. There's only been once that I've had to edit out because of that, and believe it or not, that was with Maddie Smith.
Oh,
So, and I
was
won't
she
repeat.
naughty?
Obviously, well, I'd asked her who'd been not very nice to her because I said everybody seems to have been nice,
Right.
and who's not been very nice with you. And obviously, because she wanted to edit it out, I won't name the person here.
You
I'll
have to
take
tell
a
me
guess.
afterwards because I'm intrigued now.
Yes, yeah, yeah. Um, so that's the only time I had to edit out Jonathan Ross going for a pee. And I think there was Alan Bryce had to go collect a parcel because there
Right.
was a knock on the door. Stuff like that, really.
I feel like if
Um,
someone just had to go, I think I'd just keep talking. I'd I did many years on like casino presenting on TV
right.
and you had to constantly talk. And so even if you had no players, so you do the roulette or do whatever you're doing, but then you just have to talk and it
Yeah,
could be about anything. So I'm good at just rambling about nothing. Even if I'm doing like an A to Z of like crisp flavors or something, I'd be like, right, I can talk for however many hours I'm on TV.
yeah. But no, so yeah, the podcast kind of started back then, and I think we've done something like 150 episodes or something like that. So it tells you the
Oh,
gaps.
yeah.
But I had loads lined up for the beginning of this year,
Hmm.
but then I got ill again. Ended up in hospital at the start of the year. I'm still ill with that. I've got a kidney stone trapped.
Oh, you're in the wars.
Yeah, so I was supposed to go for a operation. Didn't happen. Well, I went there, and then I was told it was cancelled
I
an
feel
hour
like
and a
this
half
keeps
away from
happening to
Carlisle.
people. Somebody else today has posted on Facebook that they've just had an operation cancelled when they got there.
So I was supposed to be going to Alan Bryce's Video Nasties weekend in Romford,
Yes.
but I can't go to that now because my operation's on the 27th of August and
Ah,
finn's
so
on the
that's the
30th.
30th, isn't it, Alan's thing? Is it
Yeah,
30? Yeah. Yeah, I haven't like 100% said I'm going yet, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
I'm 100% going to Darkfest.
Okay, well, I'll definitely be going to Dark First.
Yeah, I'll be at Darkfest 100%. Me and my
Mm,
mate have already, mate who's taking us down, his booked time off work and things, and I've just got to book the hotel now.
yeah, I will also need to do that. But yeah, I'll definitely try to go to Dark First. So I didn't go last year. I went the 2 years before, and then I think last year I just because I'd moved the year before and I went back for it, but I hadn't like moved into my place. I was kind of dotting
Yeah,
between friends trying to buy somewhere to live. And then I ended up in Scotland for a while, which was a nice little adventure. And then I've bought this place and then we'd finally finished like renovating because it needed everything doing inside. Finally finished renovating and then it was like I just needed a rest by that time and I was thought I don't want to go to London in, November in the cold.
yeah,
So I didn't go. And I think it's good actually for people that are guests there to have a break because obviously then you'll get new people coming in. Otherwise, people get tired of seeing the same guests every year. So I've
yeah,
had a year.
yeah, I suppose so.
Like to go
But I'm
back.
looking forward to obviously if you're going to be there,
I will.
and the Hammer Girls who are always there.
Yeah, they're always there.
Um, so I'm looking forward to meeting everybody, especially the ones I've chatted to, Maddie Smith
Yeah.
especially.
Have you had any of the other Hammer ladies on the show?
No, I've tried um with Caroline Monroe, but I was told she wasn't doing anything at the moment to
Right.
try back. So I need to try back. So when I meet them all, I'll do a bit of a networking, and like I did at Weird Worcester, I've managed to get a load of folk agree to come
Yeah.
on my podcast from Weird Worcester.
I saw you'd gone there. That was it Tom and the guys from Treasured Films that put that together?
Yeah, Graham Lloyd,
Yeah.
brilliant, absolutely fantastic convention.
Was it?
It
See, I
was
don't know much
very
about
dis
Italian film. So and it was all based on like Italian horror, wasn't it?
yeah, it was mostly Italian horror,
Mm,
and Charlie Higson, um, which I've got Charlie coming on the podcast. So you'll know Charlie from Ted and Ralph, Fast
right.
Show. He was one of the main writers and stars of the Fast Show, and he was Swiss Tony. If you remember Swiss Tony, but you might be too young. You might be too young for that.
I like it when I'm too
Fast
young
Show
for
and Swiss
things. I feel
Tony.
like I'm getting old now. I like it when I don't know things because I'm too young.
um, so yeah, it was great. I mean, as I said, disabled friendly. It wasn't too busy, which was
Mm,
nice. All the guests were so good with their time and would just stop and chat with you if they were walking around the event.
mm.
Um, and I got 7 of the guests lined up for my podcast, so that's not too bad. I'm looking forward to
That's
chatting to them.
amazing. I actually had a question in my list of, do you think horror conventions, so like your Weird Worcesters and your Dark Fest and the other ones, do you think they are vital to cult
Yes,
film fandom?
yes, definitely. And seeing it at Weird Worcester was amazing because last year I went to For the Love of Horror, which was
Mm,
great, but wasn't really disabled friendly. They only had
yeah,
one disabled glue, so you had to queue up for it. But no, it was still a great con. But Weird Worcester, the guys knocked it out the park with everything.
amazing.
Everything was just bang. It was just done right.
Right. I suppose like
And
Tom goes to a lot of the conventions as well. Obviously,
yeah,
you know, and I don't really know Graham as well, but like I know Tom is a film fan and he's a horror film fan. So he's kind of, he's done the rounds and tested them all out. And I think that's obviously important to then know, what bits are good from different ones and kind of take the best and kind of pull something together.
well, a lot of the people who they did get the Italian people, you're not going to get them over here again probably
Mm,
because some of them were really old. Enzo
yeah,
Castellari was he was in his 80s.
yeah,
Um, so was Sergio Martino. Fred Williamson was amazing. Um, and again, he's in his 80s. You're not going
right.
to get him traveling to England much.
Yeah,
Um, but all the guests were just really, really good, and the setup was good, and the merch stalls were fantastic.
mm,
So yeah, the Weird Worcester they really did do it. I'm looking forward to Darkfest. But yeah, the cons are definitely help with cult movies. I think,
mm.
especially if you get the right guests.
What made you decide to focus on cult film for the podcast? So it's cult film, it's not just horror that you do, it's kind of cult film in general, but obviously I know
Because
I've
I'm
come on the
just a
show as
big
horror.
cult movie fan, and that's all the kind of stuff I watch.
Mm,
I do watch the mainstream stuff as well, but to me, I'd prefer to watch an Italian crime film from the 70s or
mm,
zombie flesh eaters or something like that, bit of cannibal holocaust. Um, yeah, it's just the way it kind of landed. That cult
yeah,
movies was, and it kind of encapsulates a few different genres as well. You know, you can get cult action films,
yeah.
thrillers, comedies.
So
So,
what
you know, we've,
makes a cult film a cult film? Like for anybody who doesn't really understand the kind of
oh,
term
now
cult
this is
film,
something I've
how
been
could you
asked many a
define it?
times. Um, Not every, well, most cult movies weren't hits when they came out.
Mm,
They've grown, their cultness has grown over time,
hmm
where people have found these films and just went, yeah, I like this. Where's the more of this? And hunted it out. I was lucky, born in the 70s, brought up in the late 70s, early 80s, where it was the big VHS boom before the Video Nasties 1984 thing. So
hmm
I didn't have any censorship in the house.
Right.
My dad didn't censor anything. I could, apart from he wouldn't let us watch porn, which is fair enough.
Fair enough.
Um,
Was there a lot
but
of
I
that
was
lying
watching.
around? Top shelf of your
No,
house?
not in our house, anyways. Um, at some of my mates' houses well, it was everywhere.
Yeah, there
But
was none in our house.
no, ours was kind of porn free, apart from a
Yeah.
couple of white tapes which we knew not to watch, which obviously I did. Um, but yeah, so I mean, like the Rocky Horror Picture Show fell on its ass when it came out,
Mm.
then started getting played as a midnight movie, and that's where it caught on,
Hmm.
which then spread the word. And look at it now;
Well, it's huge
it's
now, isn't
massive.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
not even just the film, but the stage show and everything that's kind of come after it. Like it's, yes,
well, it
crazy.
was a stage show before the film.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. It
like Greece,
started off
Greece was
as
a
a
stage
stage
show.
show. Yeah,
Okay.
like Grease. Richard O'Brien wrote it for the stage,
Mm.
and yeah, excellent film. But yeah, I mean, there's cult movie. I mean, Monster Squad. There's a cult movie for you.
Hmm.
Um, Street Law, Italian crime film. It just depends. You can't really say what a cult movie is. It just becomes
Yeah.
certain movies just become cult movies.
Yeah. So what kind of recent movies do you think that like, or films that have come out recently, do you think will get cult status in like, 10, 20 years time or further down the line?
You know,
Or
some
are there any, or are we not? I don't
well,
know.
there is Abigail. That might do it. Really enjoyed that. It fell on its ass. Really watchable.
I haven't
Um,
seen it.
Freaky Tales is another one which is trying to be a cult movie.
Mm.
When you watch it, it's set in the 80s, set around comic book shops and video
There's a lot of that
shops.
now, though, isn't there? This kind of
Yeah,
80s resurgence in film. Like I can't talk with video
massive
shop tales of
80s
terror, but
resurgence.
yeah, everybody's jumping on the 80s bandwagon.
Yeah, a massive VHS resurgence as
Mm.
well. People collecting VHS, it's gone nuts. I've
Yeah.
collected for years, but
I
the
got rid of
last
all of
2 or 3
mine
years,
years ago, and things that I had on VHS, I then rebought on DVD, and now I've probably gotten rid of most of them. Like I've kept all of the DVDs that are like my favorites, things I know I'll definitely watch
yeah,
again. But other things that you just grab. It was like three for a tenner from HMV and watch them, and then it's like, oh, I'm not necessarily going to watch that again. I mean, I'm
no.
sure I've gotten rid of some that I wish I'd kept now, and I've got since I've moved. I know that there's some that are missing, and I'm sure I had a box that just didn't fit on the shelves, and I'm sure it's in the loft, but I'm also sure I've taken everything out of the loft and it wasn't, so it's like somewhere. I don't know.
Ah, you'll find it, I'm
I'll
sure.
find it.
I mean, there's so much that isn't on streaming
Yeah,
that you can't find, and you've got to watch DVD. I'm lucky, I transfer most of my stuff onto hard drives,
right.
so it's accessible for us.
Yeah,
As I buy a new film in, um, I give it to him, phone my mate up, he comes and collects whatever new Blu-rays I've got,
yeah,
and he converts them for us into MP4s,
yeah. Well, this
so
is
I've
the
got
thing.
easy
Like,
access to them.
I love the idea of like having it. Like, if you buy it, you've paid for it, it's yours, you're keeping it. Whereas all these digital platforms, yeah, even if you're buying something, like you can buy or you can rent on the digital platforms. Well, who's to say what happens if the digital platform goes? Then where you don't have it anymore, do you? It's like you lose it. So I love the thought of like physical media and still kind of really, physically owning it.
Yeah,
But
I'm
on the
physical
other
media
hand,
all over the place.
space. I mean,
Yeah,
how can you store all of the films that you love? Like where you need
I've
to,
got a, I've got a storage
you
thing.
can't,
I
and
rent.
you have to get them out of storage. You're like, oh, this week I'm going to watch films from whatever year. I mean, are they organized in storage by year or by, I don't know,
No, they're just in
alphabetical?
box because I wasn't able to sort it myself. They're just in boxes.
Right.
Um, but luckily, as I say, I've got everything on hard drives,
Yeah.
so I can, if I fancy a film from, say for instance, I fancy the Uncut Cannibal Holocaust, I've got it
Mhm.
sitting on a hard drive,
Yeah, that is
which are easy
handy.
access to is on, what I mean, takes up no space.
Yeah.
I've got probably about 30, 40 terabytes
Right.
of hard drives full to the brim
That
with
is a
everything.
lot. That's a lot.
Probably loads of doubles as well because I'm bad.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if I can't be bothered looking for it,
Buy it
I'm
again.
cheeky. Yeah. So if I can't find it on the hard drive, it's like buy it again.
Yeah.
I'm bad
No.
that way. Then because I know I've got it, I'll give it away to my mates once I've got it onto my hard drive.
Mm. So are there any films that you feel deserved cult status and then never quite got it, like older films?
Do you know something? There's a film knocking about at the moment called Chuck Steele, Night of the Trampires, and it's
We
claymation.
started that, but it was late. It was on one of the apps. I don't know what it was on, whether
It's
it was
on it's on Amazon.
it's Amazon then. Yeah, so we must have started it,
Yeah,
but it was late and I think I fell asleep and he watched it and liked it.
and it came out just a couple of years ago, and it's amazing. Now
Mm,
that's a cult film for me.
right.
The director Mike Moore is a gentleman and a scholar. He's brilliant. I had him on the show as well, and I love Chuck Steele. I think it is an amazing film. Deserves a way
Mm.
more love. And as I say, it's on Amazon, and it's just had a German media book release, which I've bought
Oh,
one that I
okay.
liked. So hopefully it is starting to catch as a cult movie, and it
Right.
deserves to. Um, and it just deserves that more love. So everybody, if you're watching this, you haven't seen Chuck Steele, Night of the Trampires, get it watched, get it bought. It's on Amazon.
Hmm.
I'm sad I bought it on Amazon when it first
Right.
came out before it was free.
Right.
Then I bought the Blu-ray. I've bought another Blu-ray of it now. Um, and I've watched it umpteen times on the Amazon app as well. It's just such a fun film.
I
And
think I'll have to give it another go when I'm going to stay awake. Probably not today because I've said I'm already, my eyelashes already make me tired, but maybe another day when I'm wide awake, I might watch that. I've got a,
Jennifer, oh, what's her name? Jennifer Abfab
oh, Jennifer
Saunders.
Saunders.
Jennifer Saunders does one of the voices, so does Paul
Amazing.
Whitehouse.
But my problem is I've got a projector screen in the bedroom. So
Nice.
if I get in bed and I have the projector screen down, I'm like, oh, it's like being in the cinema, but in bed. But I'm in bed and it's dark and that's me gone. I'm like 10 minutes into the movie. You're lucky if you get me 10 minutes into the movie. Otherwise, I'm asleep straight away. So
Uh,
maybe have to watch it
projectors,
in the living room.
projectors, that's the way ahead. I've got one
Yeah.
downstairs in my cinema room once it's finished.
Yeah. I
I'm,
mean, you can
I'm
get
getting a
massive
new
TVs now,
4K
but I
setup.
already had the projector
Yeah,
and it actually works perfectly because I've got on the end of my room, it's an old 1970s wardrobe, like a built-in wardrobe. And most people would probably knock it out, but I love like, like G-plan style furniture and it's very,
yeah.
very 70s. And so I've kept it. So there'd really be nowhere to put a TV in the bedroom. So actually the projector screen worked perfectly because on the ceiling and it just comes down. So I love it. Welcome back to the Screen Princess podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second half of this week's Screen Princess podcast with Paul P D Donaldson. Is the PD, do your middle names actually begin with P and D, or is it like Paul PD because Paul Donaldson?
There's a Paul Donaldson, and
Oh, okay. Because
everybody
I was
calls
like,
us
oh, that's,
PD.
I thought it was really wise. Your parents had gone like Paul, and then we'll give him a P middle name, and then a D middle name, and then Donaldson. But no, okay.
No, no, it's I've been called PD since I can remember.
Right.
I mean, Mum even shortened it to P,
P, just
and so
P.
does my wife. Sometimes she'll go P.
I often, when I'm signing an email, if it's to a friend or a text, I'll just put D.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. If it's
But
to
no,
like,
PD's my nickname, and it's been my nickname for God, I think since I was a baby.
okay. So, who would you say is your most memorable guest or your most memorable show?
Well, it's got to be Jonathan Ross,
And he was a recent one, so it's still
and he
fresh on
was
your
the most
mind.
recent one. Um, what a guest to get! I can't believe I managed to get him because let's be
How
honest,
did
the
you
king.
do it? That is quite a coup.
Everybody said that. Have you watched it yet?
Not yet, no, I will.
Oh, you need to. He's excellent, and it's quite sweary, but I don't mind that. I tell
No,
everybody
I
that you know you can swear, you can be as un-PC as you want. I don't care.
I always say that. I'm like,
Um,
this is not a woke podcast. You can say whatever you like.
exactly. It's got to be said. We are of that generation that I'm afraid, you know, a slap on the ass is just a slap on the ass.
Yeah, we weren't snowflakes.
Yes, exactly.
So as long as
You
there's no
know,
animal cruelty being discussed, I'm happy.
yes,
That's
yeah,
it.
that's it. But no, Jonathan Ross, I've been friends with him for years on
Right.
Facebook. I'm not going to give away his pseudonym
No, of course.
because I haven't even tagged him in it on Facebook, which would probably get me
1 million
hundreds of
followers.
more watches. But I told him I wouldn't because there's idiots who'd go and try and befriend him and talk to
Yeah,
him, and I don't want that.
no.
But no, I've been friends with him for years, and I'd sent him a message in April saying, "Would you like to be on the podcast?" And he'd read it, but not got back to us, which happens so many times.
Mm-hmm.
So I
That makes me really angry. I'd be like, people can just reply and say no. Don't leave
exact
me
or
hanging.
the amount of times I've had no reply.
Yeah, it's
They've
rude.
just left me. They've read it. They've just not replied.
And it's
Um,
people that I'm friends with on, like, if it's people I'm friends with, then they'll get deleted because I'm like, I'm not being ignored by
yeah,
people. Like, I don't mind if someone says no, it's not for me. I'd be like, cool.
exactly. But so I'd wrote a follow up saying, also, I'm a big geek like yourself, and I'm friends with Brian Hitch, who he'd done a comic book with,
Hmm.
and I'd grown up with Brian living two doors down from us, and I used to pester the hell out of him and go and sit with him while he was drawing Marvel comics or DC,
Right.
whichever he was drawn for at the time.
Hmm.
I was just a kid, 15-year-old, sitting there. So I'd sent him that, and he got back to us saying, "Oh, I can't remember seeing this, but yes, I'll do your podcast." So I thought, even though I've not been, I hate having to keep bringing up me not being well, but even though I'd not been well, I thought, do you know something? I've got to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
So I messaged him back saying, "When would you like to do it?" And he said, "Throw us a date." So I threw him some dates. He chose a date and time. He was late by half an hour. I had to ring him. And at this point, I'm thinking to myself, it's not him.
Right.
It's not him.
You've
But
been
as soon
talking to
as I
this
rang
other
him,
guy all these years.
yeah, um, as soon as I rang him and I heard the voice on the other side, I was like, ah. And he went, "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize the time." And he was on within 5 minutes. He was set up and on.
Amazing.
And he said he'd give us half an hour, and I got an hour and a half.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
So he obviously enjoyed what I was saying.
Yeah. Obviously, I want people to go and watch or listen to your podcast, but can you tell us some of like the juicy bits?
Um, he tells us about him and his dad being extras on the rise and fall of Idi Amin.
Right?
And it's in a sequence where Idi Amin's having a threesome, and it cuts to some Israeli
You
soldiers,
don't
and
want to
it's
be an extra in that scene with your dad there. That's awkward.
well, they didn't know because it kind of cuts to a scene with some Israeli soldiers,
Right.
and that's Jonathan and his dad.
Right.
So
Okay.
in amongst this threesome, it cuts to this scene with some
Okay. So they weren't in this like the
No,
same
no,
room.
they weren't in the
No.
threesome itself.
No.
Um,
Or like
so that was
watching.
that was a good little story.
Mm.
The story about Chan trying to pinch one of his posters, and took him out for a meal and went, "I just took you out for a meal. I want want the poster." And Jonathan's like, "Fuck off, Jackie. You're not getting me poster." He had to be that blunt with him in the end. That's a good story. Um, Meeting Steve Ditko, if anybody doesn't know who Steve Ditko is, he's the man who co-created Spider-Man with Stan Lee and also created Doctor Strange.
Hmm.
And he took Jonathan Ross met him, and it's a famous documentary in search of Doctors. And stayed in search of Steve Ditko, and you can find it on YouTube. And Steve Ditko had said, they got it wrong. The colours of Spider-Man. It should have been purple and orange.
Oh, really? I can't
Um,
imagine a purple and orange Spider-Man though. Like
but as Jonathan says, they're two colours that are more prevalent in nature and on spiders.
purple and orange.
Yeah,
Are they?
yeah.
I do not want to see a purple spider or an orange spider. I mean, a purple spider might be cute, like for a
And
spider,
then he
but
bites you.
yeah, until it bites you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't like any spiders. So,
Oh, they don't bother me, I must admit.
I
But
can't stand.
yeah, I'm trying to think of another story. Oh, he tells a great story about Russ Meyer,
Mhm.
and Russ Meyer wouldn't move his truck, so he says, "You'll have to move it." Then accused him of breaking his truck many months later. And there's just stories like that. He tells good stories about John Waters. So it's a proper cult cinema.
Yeah.
podcast. I knew
Yeah.
what to ask him. I could tell
Didn't he
when I
used to have a
started
film
asking.
show?
Yes. Well, he
Yes.
had the Incredibly Strange Film Show in 1988.
Okay, well, I wouldn't remember that one. Did he have a different
No,
one?
but that's what I first kind of started watching.
Right. Did he not have another one then? There was
Well, he
like in the
done it.
90s or something. Like, it was the one that
Yeah,
I'd remember.
well, he did the big BBC film, whatever year it would be, which
Right,
Barry
okay.
Norman done, and
Mm,
he took over in I think it was '99,
right.
which was great having Jonathan Ross on there because it's
Maybe it was
such an
that then.
iconic
Maybe
show.
that's what I'm
Yeah,
envisioning.
because it was on BBC One every
Yeah.
week,
Yeah, because
so
I
that'll be
only
the
had
one
the
you
four
remember.
channels growing up. I didn't have like I wasn't one of these people that had Sky in the house. We had one TV in the living room and I could watch it if my dad wasn't watching sports. So
Yeah,
and I feel like he would have watched a film thing on an evening. So I probably did catch that.
yeah, it was BBC One, main film show
Mm,
basically. Claudia Winkleman took it over with a few other people, which it went
right.
crap.
It's not the
Not
same.
because of Claudia Winkleman, because she's a good presenter, but it just didn't
I
have the
can't
right
get past
feel.
her fringe though. I'm like, I want to see your
Yeah,
eyes. Like the fringe is in the way.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, it was just a great. Once I knew what to ask him
Yeah.
and where to go with my questions, because I had like about 100 questions written down.
Right.
Once I knew to keep off the mainstream and do the culty stuff, and
Yeah, because he probably gets asked the same stuff all the time. So
exactly,
I get annoyed when I'm like, I go on a podcast and people go, "How did you get into acting?" And it's like, well, this is a long time ago, and you should have done your research. I think they ask the same, it's like the same questions, and it's like you could have like this is anyone could watch any podcast I'm on, and you get like the same. So it's nice to be asked something a bit different.
I think I've always tried to be a bit different with my questions.
Yeah. Or people will ask me about a film that they obviously haven't researched because it's a film I'm in for about 3 seconds and then not ask anything about films that I'm actually in. So I'm like, well, I don't know how
Yeah.
to answer. I wasn't there for
Well,
most of it.
sometimes it's. I mean, sometimes, especially some of your films, are hard to find.
Yes. Well, some of
So
them have not ever been released. Some of them have never even been made. So my IMDb credit list is not, that's not like a textbook. It's because people will try and get you to do a film and you'll say yes and then they'll put it on IMDb and then they'll never get the funding and they'll never make the movie and
yeah,
they disappear off the face of the earth and they don't get taken off IMDb. I feel like there should be like some
no,
kind of time limit before IMDb remove it if it doesn't like say released or finished or
yeah.
anything.
I must admit,
Um,
I'm looking forward to Video Shop Tells Terror 2.
yes, I've seen it. Have I seen it? I've seen it twice. I've seen it twice. It's like a major step up from the first one. It's like it's absolutely bonkers, like equally. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think you really like the first one, so I think you'll really like this one. And I didn't think I was in this one very much. I'm not in any of the segments but I'm
right.
still in it a lot because I kept saying to people, I'm not in it very much. I only do the wraparound. And then because it took so long to film it, and there were all these little insert things that they did film, and I was like, oh, I forgot I did that, and I forgot I did that. Like, once I've done something, it's gone. Like my boyfriend will know more about films that I've done and things that I've been in because I'm like, no, I wasn't in that, and he's like, you are in that. I don't
But
remember, but
no, I'm looking forward to Video Shop Tells Terror 2 because I
I
love the
think you'll
first one.
like it. I was
Sing
hoping they'd
Sing
get a
says he's going to
northern
sort his
screening.
copy out.
Well, I haven't heard anything
Sorry.
about a northern screening yet. Like I was hoping they'd get in one of the festivals up north because,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, Sing Lal says he's going to send us a copy
oh,
so I can
lovely.
review it and get yous all on again like I did last time
Yeah.
and chat
I
about
don't
it.
know when they're looking at releasing it because I know that he posted today and there's only four of the limited edition copies left of the
Yeah,
first one. So I think they'll still do like DVD releases, but the limited edition Blu-rays with all the extra bits. They've only got four left out of, I think it was a limited edition of whatever, how many hundreds.
yeah, I'd seen that. I'd shared it this morning
Yeah,
onto the
so
Carlisle Cult
I
Cinema
don't know when
Club
they're going to release
page.
the second one. I assume it will be soon because it's had screenings now.
Yeah, well, hopefully, fingers crossed. I
Hmm.
look forward to it. Um, so, anyways, back to you. Asking me questions for a change.
Yes,
It's weird.
I know. It's a good job I wrote some down, isn't it? So, dead or alive, like the dead or alive dinner party. We're going to do dead or alive podcast. Like, who would your dream guests be? Like, dead or alive?
Oh, Steve Ditko, because I'm a massive fan. I love his artwork, especially Doctor Strange,
Hmm.
which you can't see behind me. I've got Doctor Strange figures everywhere, as well as
Right,
Godzilla. Um, the Beatles as a whole, as a four.
right. Are you a big Beatles fan then?
Oh, I love the Beatles and
Hey.
David Bowie.
Right. Oh, he'd be interesting.
Yeah. Fulci, Lucio Fulci would be another,
Hmm.
and Ruggero Deodato.
Hmm. I met him at Darkfest.
Who Fulci
No, the
or
other one. I didn't actually know who he
Deodato?
was. And he was a little old man wearing this. He had a nice lemon yellow sweater on. And people were like, I mean, Tom Lee Rutter was like literally could hardly speak because he was so excited. And other people were pretty much the same. But I think he might have liked the ladies because he came and gave me a cuddle. He was chatting to me, but
Well,
I didn't know
the
who he was.
Italian
I was just like, oh, the
directors,
sweet little old man in the yellow jumper. And I think I actually took Tom over to introduce him because Tom was like, oh my God, introduce me.
the Italian directors do like a lady. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah,
And he directed Cannibal Holocaust and
yeah.
Proper
I know
Legend.
this now. I know this now.
Yeah,
I learned stuff on the day.
and I wouldn't mind, Vincent Price, Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee, the
Yeah,
legends. Bela
of
Lugosi,
course.
Boris Karloff.
Mm.
Most of mine are all dead, to be honest.
Rest is-
Um,
I would definitely
I'm trying.
agree with all of the like the Hammer legends who I'd like to get the Hammer
Yeah.
ladies on. I would like to get some of the Hammer
Well,
ladies
I'd
on.
love to get that. I would love to get like the Hammer ladies that are left all on at once.
Yeah, because I feel like I was going to ask Judy Matheson, but I feel like if she listens to this, I know she won't be offended, but I don't know if she'll be able to work out how to do the technology to make this happen unless we're in the same room. So,
Yeah,
I feel like I'd have to be with her and put it on record. And because I did actually go to Romford, she wasn't there, but I did Romford Horror Festival earlier this year, and I did a few podcasts there. So Spencer let me have a room upstairs, and I could kind of drag guests away and kind of do it, which
yeah,
is
yeah.
cool to have people in the room. And I had a couple of people at Horror on Sea as well. So I had Lal and I had Paul. So it's I feel like with them I'd need to kind of be in the room, and I feel like Darkfest is going to be too busy to drag them away. So I don't
Yes.
know. I don't know how to make it happen.
I am going to see if I can make it happen. I've had Maddie on with the help of Simon J. Ballard.
Yes.
He
Well,
helped
this is
out
it.
with
Yeah,
her.
maybe we could recruit Simon to go and help.
That's it. He helped out with Maddie, and it was
Yeah.
brilliant. She didn't want to be on camera at first, but as the podcast went on, she kind of edged onto camera,
Yeah. I was
and
thinking
she was
like
brilliant.
short segments with each of them and then kind of
Yeah,
splice them together into one podcast.
that'd be quite good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else alive. Um,
I would like the Spice Girls, all five at the same time, because I think it would be bonkers. But I know half of them
oh,
wouldn't
that would
speak to
be
each
just
other.
insane
It would.
because
But
they'd
I
just
know
be
like
shouting over each other.
that Jerry and Mel B fell out, and that's very sad. So I don't think you can get the five of them in a room at the moment.
No, well, the fellow is it because of Mel B's book?
No, she said something on a talk show. She admitted to something, and then Jerry got angry, and I think they made up about that. And then it was, and then what I read, because obviously it can be very different to what's actually true.
Yeah.
Mel B said something like she doesn't know how old Jerry really is because she's never seen her passport, and basically accused her of being older than she is. And Jerry took umbrage, and they have fallen out again. But it could be
Well,
ever something completely different.
Jerry had been about, you know what I mean? And I can remember my mate saying to me back in the 90s, her photos were in a British
Yeah, she did
jazz
page
mag,
three.
shall we say.
Yeah, she did page three in some of the, yeah,
So I was going and buy the magazine. We want to see her naked. So I went and bought the magazine for my mate so we could all see Jerry naked when she had
yeah,
dark hair,
yeah.
and not
But she
ginger
must have been
hair.
quite young when she did that. She was probably only about 18,
Yeah.
19 or something when she did
I think
that.
it was something to do with a Spanish TV show she was on or something like
She
that. I
was
don't
on,
know.
yeah, maybe.
But yeah, that would be an interesting one.
Hmm.
Um, I'm trying to
Well, I'm
think
a
who
big Spice
else.
Girls fan, so I would love to have them on.
Sam Raimi,
Mm.
George Romero. I think that's about it, really. There's probably others who are racing around my head, but I can't think of at the moment. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's about. all
I
me
would love to
alive
have
and dead.
Joanna Lumley on because she's done a little bit of Hammer.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. She has. She'd be great.
Yeah, I'm a big Joanna Lumley fan. She's always, you know, when we do the like Dead or Alive dinner party, she's always on my dinner party guests. And like I
Brilliant.
had David Attenborough, but he doesn't do horror, so I don't know. I don't feel like I
No,
could fit him into this podcast that's horror themed. And the horrors that happen in
you
nature.
could get his brother on.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, because Jurassic Park, of course. Did he do any other
Brighton
horror,
Rock.
Richard Attenborough?
Yeah, Brighton Rock.
Right.
Um, which was more of a thriller. But yeah, he's done some cult movies
Yeah.
over the years as Richard.
Mm. So if you were going to, because I know you do film nights, if you were going to schedule a double bill, like what would your favorite, like what two films would you put together for a double bill?
See, I've double billed quite a few
You've
me
double, or you've already
films.
done it.
Yeah, I've
Give
done
us some good
Cannibal
pairings.
Holocaust and Zombie Flesh Eaters.
Hmm.
This year it's Anthropophagus, the Beast, and Absurd. Um, so yeah, I've kind of Dawn of the Dead and anything culty is always a big one. Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 would be a good one. I've
I've just
screened them
watched the
both
series
separately.
because I hadn't seen the original films. I went to the premiere of the newer film, and then my boyfriend's like, "You need to watch, is it Ash versus Evil Dead?" And
Yeah,
I wasn't
very
really up
funny.
for it. And then I started watching it, and I thought it was great.
You need to go back and watch the original three
Yeah,
films
I'm sure. Can you
because
hear
they
that?
are iconic.
Can you hear that noise? I think it's
No?
feeding time for my next door neighbor's poodles, and they howl, but they just do it for like a minute. But both of them howl. I think she must be getting the food out in there. You can't hear it.
One of my mates is dropping me off what I call my rescue packages. And my dogs, we've got two French bulldogs, and they'll go berserk when
Right.
he lands. So I'm guaranteed that they'll be barking soon. Because he
Yeah.
messaged us when we were on the break,
Right.
saying, "Where do you want us to get these from?" And I went Morrison's because I go on the apps and look for stuff, and then he comes down and I'll sort him out. I'll pay for it tomorrow. I'll sort him
Right.
out. I'll send him out PayPal or something like that. But yeah,
Yeah.
my little rescue packages at least once, twice a week.
Right. Well, I've got cats, so they don't really go berserk at the door. In fact, they run. And the boy one hides under the bed. So if anyone comes round, he's so unsociable. He's like straight under the bed. The girl one's a little bit more curious and she'll go and say hello to people, but the boy one's like, no, I'm staying under the bed until those people have gone. So in fact, they're being really
Mm.
good today. Like this is two podcasts and the cats haven't gone berserk. Like the girl one's usually up the curtain or yelling at me to feed her because she does that
You'll
all the
speak
time.
too soon.
Well, they're both asleep in my bedroom. She's underneath my dressing table, I think, because the sun gets that spot. So she's
Yeah.
kind of under there. And the boy was just asleep on the floor. I was like,
Oh well.
they're behaving, which is very rare. I fed them just before I did Megan's podcast. So maybe they're still full.
Knock-on effect.
Yeah, well, this is a problem though, because I'm home most of the day. That the girl one demands to be fed about four times a day. And like, you don't need to eat this much food. Like, you're going to be a really fat
No.
cat. But and the thing is, she was relentless. Like, she won't give in until I've given her something. So I give in. So it happens. It
It
does
does.
happen.
It does that.
What's your favorite decade for cinema?
It's got to be the 80s because the films that came out that I loved and still love and still watch,
Hmm.
not just horror, the likes of Ghostbusters and Back to the Future,
Hmm.
Weird Science, My Science Project. These are films that came out in the 80s that I still watch to this day and love.
Thing is, like a lot of the films from the 80s, if you made them now, they just wouldn't work. But like obviously if you watch them then they're an absolute classic. So I always think if you like things like Big,
Oh, you couldn't make that now
because I mean it's like it's really
because she's sleeping with a
yeah. Like
what
it's
was it,
like
10-year-old,
but
12-year-old
nobody
boy?
thought about it like that at the time, did they?
No.
It wasn't weird. And it's still a great film. And I did actually watch it not so long ago. And I was like, it's still really good, but it's a little bit uncomfortable.
Oh, a lot of films from the 80s are problematic now,
Yeah.
but it depends if you, and I don't care.
Well, no, I, you know. I mean, I don't look at Big and go, oh my God, that must be banned. Like, and the people are trying to
Yeah,
ban Grease, aren't they? Have you seen that? Like, women are trying to ban Grease because, Sandy
it's
shouldn't have had to
pathetic.
change for him at the end and
Yeah, it's pathetic. It's a film that was made in the 70s of its time,
was
and it's
made in the
still
70s, but
great.
set in the 50s. So it was
Yeah,
made in the 70s, but it was set in another time, which would have been more like that.
exactly. I like Grease too. I watch Grease too often.
This is a funny one. So one of my best friends, he loves Grease too. And I like some of it. But some of it is a little bit much. Like Greece, I mean,
Well,
Greece is amazing. But I used to actually have bunk beds in my bedroom when I was growing up. I didn't have anyone else, like I didn't have a sibling or anything. I just had bunk beds both for me, so I could decide where I wanted to sleep. And the ladder, I used to climb the ladder and sing Cool Rider. You know how like she does that song where she climbs up the ladder?
yeah,
I used to pretend I was Michelle Pfeiffer singing Cool Rider on the ladder.
fantastic. I mean, the cast in it alone's fantastic. I mean, I've seen it on Pirate VHS, and I can remember watching it. My dad had got it for us, and went to school and said, "I've seen Grease too." Nobody believed us because we were a year behind.
Right.
And I was like, "I've seen Grease too," and went, "There's no Grease too." And it came out like a year later, and
Yeah.
I'd already seen it on Pirate Video umpteen times.
Yeah.
And because I've always been able to get hold of, you know, films before everybody else or pirate
Somehow.
films. It's just been the way of life, really. It's the only way to get some stuff.
Yeah.
Still to
I
this day,
can't get it
I'll
legally.
get
I'll find
messages
an
off my
illegal
mates.
one.
Pardon?
Can't get it legally. I'll find another way.
Yeah, I mean, one of my mates will often send us messages. I've got this. Do you want to watch it? I send us a link. Um, or
So I
now
don't feel that
because
bad because I'm pretty sure people watch my films illegally. So
possibly because I suppose it's the only way, well, with some of them.
yeah, so I don't,
Um,
I'm like, well, I don't feel bad if I do it.
but I'm lucky because I do get sent codes
Hmm.
off directors and
Yeah.
producers to watch film. There's a code for the film. Give that a watch.
Yeah, that's handy.
Um, yeah, so that's not too bad. And quite often I'll get sent stuff to review, with us now reviewing for writing for We Belong Dead and things,
Ah,
um,
okay.
which is good.
So they always go to Dartfest.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Eric and Daryl, two
Yeah,
lovely blokes who have took a punt on me, which seems to be working.
right.
And I've got major imposter syndrome that I'm going to get found out that I'm really shit at everything I do, including the podcast and my radio show.
No.
And they're just going to say, "You're just shit. Just go
No,
off."
they won't. They won't. I actually met
Honest to
them
God,
at the Festival of Fantastic Films in Manchester a
yes.
few years ago, and that was I don't know what year we were in now. It was when there was all the train
Daryl
strikes.
does a lot of the Q&As there.
Yeah, he interviewed me there. And that I
Yeah,
made me good friends actually. That's where I met Simon, who then interviewed
yeah,
me for Dark Side magazine. So yeah, it's a little small world, isn't it? This horror
it
community.
is. It is. Haven't wrote anything for Dark Side yet. Hoping to one day. That's my big. If I can get something Dark Side, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
So I know Alan. I'm gonna put it out there to him on our next podcast in a couple of weeks because we're
Oh, have you got him
discussing
on the
the
show? I need to bring him back actually because I had him on the show when I was at Romford and I
yeah,
did a chili sauce challenge. So there's a guy called Dean who's got a chili sauce company, and I know that Alan is a bit of a fiend for really hot chili sauces, and he honestly nailed it like a pro. I had this tiny bit and I was dying, and he had like a whole scoop of this chili sauce, and he just yeah,
yeah. I'll be
throwed it
screwed
out.
because I can't do hot sauce or hot spicy things.
I love a bit of spicy, but sometimes, when it's like that's just too much. I knew he'd be able to do it though, because I'd seen the video of him at Christmas when he'd eaten a really hot one. It actually gave him a nosebleed. Um, so I'd seen that and I was like, so cool. I knew he'd be able to do this. But I must bring him back to do a proper show where we actually talk about the his career and his life because been very
Yeah,
interesting with his
he is. I mean, I've had him on
magazine.
3 times.
Mm,
So, the first one was obviously talking about his career and things. Then we've had a couple of Dark Fest conversations,
right.
and this is going to be the Video Nasties one, which is in a couple of weeks when I
Yes.
talk to him again. Um,
Oh, amazing. So what was the
so
first film you remember that really scared you, like when you were a kid? I know you said like you weren't
Now,
censored, you were allowed to watch anything.
so I started with the BBC Two horror double bills in the 70s,
Right,
and it'll have been one of the. There was so many, but I can't ever remember being scared. Just kind of exhilarated,
right.
if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
I've never, I just can't. I've never had a nightmare that I can remember. I've never really been scared that I can remember. Um, but I get exhilarated.
Right.
Do you know?
I think
Oh,
that's the
look at
thing,
that!
isn't it, with
Oh,
horror? It's like it's a weird kind of scare because even you're kind of, it's like a adrenaline thing because you're watching it and you
yeah,
don't want to
that's
stop
that's the
watching it.
kind of thing. I don't get scared, but I get me adrenaline pumps, shall we say?
Yeah, I'm very easy to make jump. I wouldn't say I don't like go to bed after watching a horror film and feel like I'm going to have a nightmare or I'm terrified. I'm usually okay, but I do jump. So any jump scares get me straight away, like immediately. I'm really easy to make jump, and I'm in life as well. Like I'm easy to jump out and make scream.
I mean, the odd jump scare gets us, but it is the odd jump scare.
Yeah, I know people don't like
Um,
them, but I'm a fan. I like a jump scare. I don't need too
oh, you
much
need a jump
gore.
scare in a horror film.
I like, yeah, some people hate it, don't they?
Yeah,
They think it's like that it's easy to scare people with a jump scare and it's kind of cheating, but I actually prefer it. Like I don't want too much gore or any really real torture stuff. Like that's unnecessary. I just want to, jump. And that's
yeah,
I don't know. I'm
yeah.
a
I don't do
slasher
the
fan
Saw
though.
films. I've seen the first one, haven't seen any of the others. Not interested. My mate's like, but you're this big horror film fan. You should watch the
Yeah.
Saw films.
I've
No, I
seen them
watched the
all,
first
but
one.
they blend into one after you've watched the couple, although there's different things that they do,
They all
it's
just
pretty
feel
much the
like
same.
one film.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like Final Destination I love and I've loved all of them. And it's the same, like you're watching the same thing done in different ways. And the new one's got a slightly different twist.
Yeah, I
And
enjoyed the new one, Bloodline.
I loved it. I loved it. And it's got that slight different twist, which obviously won't give away because it's still out
Yeah,
and people will watch it. But even though you're going to go and watch these like crazy death scenes, it's still fun. It makes you jump and it's fun. Whereas Saw, it's like I'm watching the same and it's just gross, 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 gross,
yeah.
gross. I mean, clever. I won't I won't disagree with that. Like it's inventive, the things that they do, but it's yeah, once you've seen one, you've seen them all.
Well, yeah, the first one came out, went to the cinema with my mate, watched it, and was like, oh, I've seen all this before. And I
Yeah.
thought The Cube, which came out before it, was better on a
I haven't
similar
seen that.
premise.
I haven't seen that one.
Watch it, brilliant. There's three films, or is it four? Anyways, watch them. They're way better than the Saw
Okay.
films.
So no earlier, like way earlier, you were saying about sequels that you've watched more than an original or sequels that are
Yeah.
better. And so I don't, do you prefer Grease 2 to Grease 1?
Do you know something? I've probably watched Grease 2 more than Grease 1.
Are there any others that you prefer? Because I prefer Crocodile Dundee 2 to Crocodile Dundee 1. I like
Snap,
them both, but I think the second one's better.
the second one is better. The whole drug dealer thing.
And I think the fact
The
that they went to
soundtrack.
Australia and you want to see him in Australia, you want to see him in
Yes,
his own,
yeah,
land.
much better. Um, I tend to watch Fright Night 2 more than Fright Night, and I love Fright Night.
Hmm.
Same with Return of the Living Dead 2, and I love the original. Um, Return of the Swamp Thing, I watch more than Swamp Thing.
Hmm.
So yeah, there's a few I watch more
There's a
than
few.
the originals. I'm trying to think if there's any others. I think they're the kind of main ones.
So before we run out of time, because we're getting there, who have you got coming up on the show? Have you got any other ones scheduled to go out? Who have we got to look forward to?
I haven't got any recorded, but
Oh,
I've got a load of people who've said they'll be on the show, so I've sent messages off
mhm.
to start recording next week. We've got Sam Irving next week. That'll
Oh,
go out next
nice.
Friday.
So he's the director
Um,
of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
exactly, and a few others, and
Two.
he's a
Yeah, no, not
writer,
Mistress of the
and
Dark. He was the director of the other one, Haunted Hills.
Yes, Haunted Hills.
Haunted
That's the one.
Hills. I got it wrong. Yeah.
Guilty as charged. He does a lot of Hallmark films.
Right.
He done Oblivion for Full Moon and its sequel.
Hmm.
Um, he just looks like he'll be a fun guy to have on.
Yeah.
Charlie Higson from the Fast Show,
Hmm.
got him coming on. Catriona McCall from City of Living Dead, The Beyond,
Hmm.
House by the Cemetery. Um, Fred Williamson, Sylvia Cotillion from House by the Cemetery. Madge Newton from Zombie Creeping Flesh. Mike Mendez, director who directed Big Ass Spider, and he's just done Satanic Hispanics. He's done a story
Right.
on there. Um, Tiffany Shepis.
Hmm.
I'm going to get Jim Wynorski sorted to come on. And I think that's about it at the moment
That's quite a
that are
lot to
lined up.
keep you busy for a while.
Yes.
Like
A lot
until,
of watching their films and bits and bobs
yeah,
and reading for me to do.
yeah.
So it usually takes us a week to get everything done that I
Oh,
need done.
amazing.
So
Well,
that's why there's a
thank you
so
so much for coming on the show. We are now out of time. It goes quickly, doesn't it?
it does. Well, thank you for having me, Danny. It's been an absolute
Very
pleasure.
welcome.
And if you ever want to chat again, just get in touch.
Okay, thank you.